Hello, y'all, and welcome to my presentation of the study Facial Appearance Affects Science Communication by Gheorghiu, Callan, and Skylark, 2017. At this point, it is well documented that first impressions based off of facial appearance have important social implications. With the rise of scientific communication in the public sphere, which is shaping public policy and discourse, the authors of this study attempted to investigate the relationship between facial appearance and effective science communication. Science communication influences people's beliefs and actions, and with increased exposure, more scientists are being asked to interact with the public, which raises the question, how is the communication of scientific research being affected by those communicating it? Aside from facial appearance, science communication is already affected by the use of stylistic features while communicating, such as imagery, clarity of expression, and inclusion of jargon. Generally, the authors hypothesize that a scientist's face will influence the selection and evaluation of a scientist's research. Within that general hypothesis, they went further with three more specific hypotheses, those being that the apparent competence of a person's face would have a positive effect on their interest and evaluation of that person's work. Secondly, the apparent sociability may reflect negatively for a good scientist, but would reflect positively for an educator. And finally, a trustworthy-looking scientist would have increased success in communicating their research. The entire experiment is broken down into 6 separate studies, each paired to tackle a different aspect of the hypothesis. The first 2 studies wish to confirm which facial traits are most important in effective science communication. For this, faces of scientists at US and UK universities were gathered to be rated by participants based on social traits, which were competence, sociability, and morality. They were also rated on attractiveness and perceived age. 2 other variables of interest that will remain relevant through the remainder of this presentation are interest and good scientist judgments. Interest judgments are the ratings participants give on how interested they are in reading or learning more about the scientist's research. Whereas a good scientist is defined as someone who conducts accurate scientific research which yields valid and important conclusions. Study 1 began with 54 participants, wherein they were asked to rate the faces on social traits, attractiveness, and perceived age. The group of 54 was then divided to judge 2 separate subsets. These subsets were faces of physics professors, and the other subset was biology professors. Using these faces, they rated them on the questions, how interested would you be in finding out more about this person's research? And how likely is it that this person is a good scientist? 2 other groups of participants were then asked to rate all 216 faces with the interest and good scientist measures. All studies presented here were analyzed using a mixed effects regression. Study 2, which is also listed on this page, was a replication of Study 1, just with larger sample size and more social traits. After the replication of Study 1 with Study 2, it was concluded that there was an increased interest in a scientist's work when they were attractive and appeared moral and competent. Judgments for a good scientist were positively correlated with faces that appeared both competent and moral, but were negatively correlated with those that appeared attractive and sociable. The analyses done for both studies were pooled after the fact and are illustrated in the graphs presented, which is representative of the previous results on the slide before. Study 3 aimed to focus on what aspects of facial appearance caused interest in a scientist's work. To do this, the faces used in Study 1 were paired with real research article titles. Before beginning, participants were told that they were to read an article or watch a video with a scientist explaining their work. And then they were to select one based off of interest. Participants were then presented with 4 pairs of faces and titles that could be accompanied by a video or an article in a set of 4. In each set, 2 interesting faces and 2 uninteresting faces were chosen. In total, participants made 4 selections, 1 for each combination of variables. The study also used a mixed effects regression. After conducting the analysis, the researchers concluded that people were more likely to choose research titles that were paired with faces of an interesting-looking scientist. Going a bit further, they found that female participants were more swayed by appearance, and that the effect of appearance shrunk with the participants' age, meaning the older they are, the less affected they are by the face's appearance. Study 4 aimed to answer the same question with a different approach. In this study, participants were asked to pretend that they were browsing a website that hosted videos of scientists describing their research. They were then presented with a video accompanied by an article title and a male scientist's face, after which they were asked to rate how likely they were to watch that video. Again, analysis used was a mixed effects regression. The results concluded that interest in a scientist's work is positively correlated with apparent competence. Overall, there was higher interest from participants that are scientifically engaged and/or older. The 2 graphs on the left represent the data gathered from Study 3, and the 2 on the right from Study 4. From the graph on the top left, it is most interesting to note that there was a higher interest rate overall for videos compared to articles. Studies 5 and 6 aim to focus on the good scientist's judgment. In Study 5, participants were given 2 articles to read, both paired with photos of their respective authors. In each pair, one face was rated high on the good scientist rating and the other low. These ratings for those individual faces come from Study 1. After reading, the participants rated the quality of the scientist's research. A mixed effects regression was used when analyzing. After analyzing, the research that was paired with the photo rated high on the good scientist's judgment was deemed higher in quality. In Study 6, participants were presented with 4 physics news stories. Each were paired with a male scientist's face. They were then re-shown these pairs of news story and male face individually, and then at this point, participants were asked to rate how much each pair deserved to win an award related to science. A mixed effects regression was used yet again. It was revealed that more competent-looking scientists were judged as more deserving of the award. The graphs on the left side represent the data from Study 5, and on the right, the data from Study 6. To conclude, there was increased interest in a scientist's work if they appeared competent, moral, and attractive. Under the earlier definition of a good scientist, scientists were considered good if they appeared competent and moral, but were considered to be less sociable and less attractive. The limitations of this study center around the participant information, which was not clearly disclosed. Though it's explicitly stated in the paper that demographic information was taken for the participants, none of that information is provided in the methods section beyond the number. On some rare occasions, they did include where the participants were gathered from, but that was only in relation to one study. Thank you for taking the time to listen and watch this presentation. I look forward to the discussion that follows.